Hi, this is Sherry Elliott Pope with Art on a Budget, and I have some helpful tips I'd like to pass on to you. The first tip is talking about these leftover prescription pill bottles. These are great for storing leftover paint. As you know, I primarily work with acrylic paint, and I have found that I can save acrylic paint up to a couple of weeks in here without drying out. So that's very helpful. As you know, that it can be so hard to match that same hue that you were working with. So if you have a little bit of leftover paint, why not save it? I've noticed in art that it seems to be an unspoken rule that you're not supposed to use assistive devices like rulers or other things that might help you. But I do use rulers. Here's a metal ruler that I use. I will use it to put up against my artwork to help guide my brush to draw a straight line. And I found that it really does save a lot of time, because it can be difficult if you're drawing a building or painting a building, for instance, to have a wobbly side to your building, and to be able to use the ruler to make sure you have a straight line is helpful. Also, with circles, you know, you want to get that perfect shaped sun or moon or whatever you're working on that you need a perfect circle for. You can buy these circle sheets. They're only a couple of dollars a piece, and they're very helpful. And I know that people usually think of these to work with whenever you're drawing, and they are great. They really are helpful when you're drawing, but they can also be helpful when you're painting. For instance, here's a sheet of circles, and I cut a circle shape out for a painting that I was working on, and I just held this up to my painting, and then I was able to use it to guide my brush to get that perfect circle shape. Also, I don't know if you're like me, but you have these containers lids laying around the house, and you've used the container for something else and you have the lid left, or you just have the lid and have lost the container. So these can be helpful. You can put a little bit of paint on the outside and then just dab it up against your canvas, and then you have your guide for the perfect circle. Or you can hold it up against your painting and paint around it, which is actually a little more difficult. So putting the paint just a small bit around the outside and hitting your painting with it is helpful. Have you found that if you're getting low on paint, if your container or tube of paint is getting low and you have a little bit left in there, you don't want to be wasteful, you want to use it, but it's so difficult because you have to roll this down and make sure the lid's open, squeeze it, and hold this down at the same time. So I've taken one step out of the equation by securing this with a piece of duct tape when I get it rolled down. Of course it would be duct tape, right? And now I can open the cap and squeeze this with my hand and get out the amount that I need for my palette. Another thing I found helpful is if I have some leftover clothes, for instance, that I can't wear anymore, I've outgrown, or they're worn past being able to wear as clothing. I can use them as long as they're limp free and they don't have any strings hanging on them. I can cut them up into small paint rags. They work really well to wipe your hands on as you're working, if you get your hands messy, or if you need to use them to clean up the paint brushes or your paint surfaces. It's all really costs nothing. And those were from a pair of pajamas, and actually I just got a ton of paint cloths from that. Okay, I think that's all I have for you today. I am going to put out another video soon on mixing flesh tones, and I'd also like to talk about good quality brushes on a budget. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.